Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down. Bitch, you ain't no Barbie, I see you work at Arby's. Never too supersized, hurry up, I'm starving. Gnarly, radical, on the block I'm magical. See me at your college campus, baggy full of Adderalls. Call me if you need a fix, call me if you need a boost. See them other chicken heads, they don't ever leave the coop. I'm in the coupe cruising, I got the stolen plates, serving all the fiends over there by the Golden Gate. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down.
Woke up in the morning, traveling straight into the sun. Told my friends and family I was gone. Looked back in the mirror, thought about who I had become. And I don't think that anything's gone wrong. Jumped out of my suitcase and went traveling down the road. Went back to the place where I was born. Thinking about my future, thinking about how far we have come. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna be going home. And the day goes on, goes on, goes on, goes on. And the day goes on. And the day goes on, goes on, goes on. Hold on. And the day goes on. Went down to Virginia, thinking about how to change my name, just in case I have to fly away. Jumped onto a spaceship and I went to outer space. And now I think I'm gonna be okay. And the day goes on, goes on, goes on, goes on. And the day goes on. And the day goes on, goes on. Hold on. Once the day goes on. And I'm long gone. And I'm long gone. And I'm right where I belong. I went to the future, thinking about how to spend my day. Thinking about the things I can't explain. It's 1900 and the times are going to change. Oh, now I think we're gonna be okay. And the day goes on, goes on, goes on, goes on, and it goes along. And the day goes on, hold on, stay strong. And the day goes on.
Do you agree that there's no such thing as racism?
paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers, scum. They're on giant death factories, keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
Horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you've got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up, N word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top if I want to ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P word is wet, come take a dive. And continue along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar.
It's okay to have feelings.
Yeah, it's another Beware broadcast. Let's go. How's it going, chat? How you doing? We got a crazy good stream for you today. Holy cow, I hope you're as excited as I am. You should be excited too. Holy cow. We got freedom. Can I get a freedom, everybody? Freedom. Freedom's on the docket. That's right. There was a Freedom Fest. And your favorite YouTuber, Viva Frey, was on a panel. Oh my god, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And then we're following up on the Andrew Tate debate. That's right. xQc was a debater. And he did quite alright. And they were talking about masculinity. Wow. Gender roles, everybody. When's the last time you got into a long-winded debate about gender? Huh? So it's gonna be good. And new internet historian. It's gonna be some lovely content to wrap up the day. I'm here, you're here. It's gonna be a great stream. I'm so excited. Oh, geez, so much more freedom. You can't even. I don't think you'll be able to handle the amount of freedom we're going down into. I'm excited, that's for sure. I tried to fix up some things in my setup. I didn't totally succeed. But that's okay, because, I'm trying? I don't know, yeah, I'm trying. Look, I got, like, this background we're gonna use. It's gonna be good. Look at this, look at this chat. There we go, look at this, I'm getting better all the time. So, yeah, I'm actually hanging a pride flag, finally. Took forever, it's been around for years, and I thought, oh geez, that could make a good curtain with my broken blinds, and then it didn't reach the whole window, so didn't do the job, but hey, there we go. You know, it's a bit more, a bit fresher look. We got a bunch of new follows. We got like 30 odd follows yesterday. What a crazy stream that was. That was crazy. So many new people to the stream, and I get the feeling that once we hit the Andrew Tate stuff, they're gonna be all over it. But here we go, we're blasting off. Let the world know that I'm live, and you should be here. Oh geez. So we're gonna get into some of the news that's been popping off, that's just been kind of crazy and weird and different, just to make sure we're keeping abreast of the world. And then yeah, let's get into some freedom, everybody. Freedom! Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I cannot believe this movement that is void of ideas is just chugging along. And here, let me fix the camera up a bit. Let's see here. That's a bit better. All right, cool. All right, I hope you caffeinated. I hope you feeling good. Let's check out. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on in the world today, everybody. Ted Cruz says that SCOTUS was clearly wrong to legalize gay marriage. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh. Okay. Wait, what? Wait. No, but... Hey, wait a minute. You said you guys weren't coming after gay marriage. Did they lie to us again?
In his have Justice Thomas, in his concurring opinion, put a target on the back of the right to conception, or I'm sorry, the right to
privacy,
contraception, and
the
right, thank you, the right to contraception, the right to intimacy with the person you love, and the right to marry the person you love. That should terrify everyone in this nation.
Ted Cruz, man that no one likes, a Texas Republican, said Saturday that he believes the Supreme Court was clearly wrong when it decided in a historic 2015 ruling that same-sex marriage was legal under the Constitution. In a video uploaded to YouTube from his Verdict Plus podcast. God. Oh, yeah, we're gonna start in the bad place and I guess move up. This is just the first thing. This is the news.
In this role as an advocate, and Obergefell was in front of the Supreme Court again in some way, what would be the vulnerability of this case? What would be the argument against this case, or the argument for overturning it?
So look, Obergefell, like Roe versus Wade, ignored 2 centuries of our nation's history. Marriage was always an issue that was left to the states. We saw states before Obergefell that were moving. Some states were moving to allow gay marriage. Other states were moving to allow civil partnerships. There were different standards that the states were adopting. And had the court not ruled in Obergefell, the democratic process would have continued to operate, that if you believed gay marriage was a good idea, the way the Constitution set up for you to advance that position is to convince your fellow citizens. And if you succeeded in convincing your fellow citizens, then your state would change the laws to reflect those views. In Obergefell, the court said no.
But the thing is like, y'all already want to make abortion illegal federally. So what happened to states' rights in that? What?
We know better than you guys do, and now every state must sanction and permit gay marriage. I think that decision was clearly wrong when it was decided.
Monster.
It was the court overreaching. Whether the court will reverse it, I will say, so in Dobbs, what the Supreme Court said is Roe is different because it's the only one of the cases that involves the taking of a human life, and that's qualitatively different. I agree with that proposition.
Nice. This is not a good situation. But yeah, we're starting in the bad place, and we're just like we're gonna move up. We're gonna get out of the bad place. So a couple intense stories to start with, and then fun and freedom. Everybody. Okay, there's this that went viral the other day, and then I have the story behind it. This is what I thought I was going to lead with as my main story, but Freedom Fest. I forgot about Freedom Fest. How could I forget about Freedom Fest? So let's all watch this very normal video of a man delivering a package. Yeah, he's just kind of slumping over there. Why he do that? Oh, that doesn't look very good. Yeah, he looks like he's passing out. And there he goes. Yikes. Oh, no, he kept consciousness. Good. He's gonna get up and, ring the doorbell. Jesus, covered in sweat. And I guess slump away. That's, I guess, I'm gonna go with heat exhaustion. That was a pretty scary video. I don't know about you. That was a very, very scary video to me. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. Rut-row. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Hundreds die as heat wave grips Europe, and temperatures soar above 40 degrees Celsius. At least 360 people have died in Spain's scorching heat, while in neighboring Portugal, 238 more deaths were recorded from July 7th to 13th than in previous years. Wow, 238 more. High temperatures have been gripping southern Europe this week and have been blamed on climate change. Is climate change getting blamed again for that? Oh, no. Yeah, no. Imagine that being your job, and it's like, yeah, I might risk collapsing, a little bit of falling over. Southwest Europe endured a 6th day of a summer heat wave on Saturday that has triggered devastating forest fires as parts of the continent brace for new temperature records early next week. Firefighters in France, Portugal, Spain, and Greece battled forest blazes that have ravaged thousands of hectares of land and killed several personnel since the start of the week. Yikes. It is the second heat wave engulfing parts of Southwest Europe in weeks as scientists blame climate change. Of course they would. Of course scientists would blame climate change. Jeez. They predict more frequent and intense episodes of extreme weather. At least 360 people have died due to the heat wave in Spain, with temperatures far above 40 degrees. So, yeah, I thought this was going to be my main story, but I think we're just going to touch base on it. Be like, oh, okay. Maybe people shouldn't be going to the beach in the middle of the afternoon. We should try adapting, because this is, I think as someone put it, the coolest summer we're going to have for a long time now. Like, it's going to be the coldest summer All right, let's get to the main segment. Freedom Fest. Oh man, everybody. Oh geez. Oh man, can you believe it? It's happening. Now I do warn you, this is a Project Veritas panel, and we all know my strong feelings about Project Veritas and how they have been repeatedly caught in like failed smear attempts. My favorite one being when Washington Post caught them like red-handed and like set up on them as they were setting up on Washington Post, which we can go into. But for now, I'm mostly interested in this because Viva Frei covered the Freedom Convoy that was in Ottawa, and here he is. He's blown on up. He's doing good. He's politics frogs are eating well, and he got himself a spot on a Fox Nation Project Veritas panel with James O'Keefe, Judge Kaczynski, Ron Coleman. I only recognize, I think, James O'Keefe. Why do I know that name? But all right, here we go. Freedom, everybody. Freedom. Audio? Okay.
My name is James O'Keefe, and we are going to spend the next hour talking about the First Amendment with a very amazing panel of people. And the subject of this panel is when the government assaults the First Amendment. So thank you for joining us as we discuss the terrifying lengths to which the...
Whoa, just before we get into this, let's just read the Wikipedia page for James O'Keefe. American political activist and provocateur who founded Project Veritas. So this is the guy. This is why I know his name. A far-right activist group that uses deceptive editing techniques to attack mainstream media organizations and progressive groups. Both O'Keefe and Project Veritas have produced secretly recorded undercover audio and video encounters in academic, governmental, and social service organizations purporting to show abusive or illegal behavior by representatives of those organizations. The recordings are often selectively edited to misrepresent the context of the conversations and the subject's responses. O'Keefe gained national attention for his selectively edited video recordings of workers at Association of Community Organization for Reform Now, ACORN offices in 2009, his arrest and guilty plea in 2010 for entering the federal office of then U.S. Senator Mary Landrieu, I don't know how to say that name, Landrieu, under false pretenses, and the release of misleading videos of conversations with two high-ranking, now former NPR executives. Woo! Congress got involved and voted to freeze funds for the nonprofit. Wow! National controversy resulted in the nonprofit also losing most of its private funding before investigations of the videos concluded no illegal activity occurred. The woke media took him down. He had to be bankrupt, and Breitbart commissioned him. So this is a far-right provocateur. I mostly know him because of the Washington Post story. That was super... Yeah, the failed attempt to sting Washington Post. Such a good arc. But we're not here for... sorry, excuse me. We're not here for Project Veritas dip. We're here for Viva Frei. Let's see how this is.
Government will go to silence speech like it does. So
silence.
I am the founder of Project Veritas, CEO of Project Veritas. Project Veritas is a non-profit investigative journalism organization and recent recipient of an FBI raid.
Oh, that's
forced entry by FBI agents, which we'll talk about here. This is the subject of this panel. On our panel, we have first Judge Alex Kaczynski, is the former chief judge of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, where he served until entering private practice in 2017.
Bro. Kaczynski's judicial career ended in 2017 when he retired after over a dozen of his former female law clerks and legal staffers accused him of sexual harassment and abusive practices. Kaczynski had previously faced an ethics hearing over inappropriate sexual material. Shahi. Wow. Federal appeals judge announces immediate retirement amid probe of sexual misconduct allegations. All right. Good thing we just put his name in the old Google machine.
Next, we have David Freiheit.
Phonetically, yeah.
Known as Viva Frei, Fry,
Now what happened?
to many of you is a notable Canadian lawyer who also happens to run one of my favorite video law blogs, really takes these motions and makes them come to life.
This
One
is
of
the only dude who is like actually got nothing in his Wikipedia page. Everybody, totally normal. Canadian lawyer, former political candidate for the PPC, and YouTuber. So, famous YouTuber from Montreal. Studied creative arts at Dawson. He got a Bachelor of Arts. His name is David Freiheit. I guess, I don't know, that doesn't seem too unusual. But his Viva Frei, like to live free, oh my god, yeah, exactly. For the first few years of his YouTube career, Freiheit was a practicing commercial litigator, and he struggled to find time to create his videos. In January 2018, he discontinued his litigation practice and turned full-time to YouTube. Can he still call himself a lawyer then? He worked professionally for the prominent commercial litigation firm Borden Ladner Gervais for 6 years, but left to be a freelance litigator after his first child to have a more favorable work-life balance, starting a firm called Freiheit Legal. And that, I guess, would have closed pretty quickly. Okay, so what did he do as a lawyer? Well-respected law firm was recognized as Band 1 in 11 practice groups, yada yada yada, and is known for its practices in international trade, energy, investment, employment and labor, healthcare, shipping, construction, and procurement law. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's done all sorts of stuff. It has represented many of Canada's most blue chip companies, including Hudson's Bay, Canadian Pacific, Bank of Montreal. Okay, I see. Bell, Royal. Okay, so he worked for the big time lawyers. He worked for the big time downtown lawyers, gave up to raise his kid, got famous on YouTube saying stuff, and now he's like, I'm gonna just say I'm a YouTube lawyer now. I guess. Okay, this should be good. He's the one I like the most, though, so far.
Does
Maybe I'll
that.
be surprised.
And Ron Coleman. Ron Coleman is a partner with a law firm, Dillon Law Group, powerhouse litigation firm blazing a trail for free speech. It should be noted that I am a client of Harmy Dillon. So each of our panelists has firsthand experience with government censorship, something I personally experienced. We have a little video clip we're going to play for you here that takes you through some of these raids. And the first issue on this panel is, do battering rams belong at the door of journalists in the United States? So we have a clip here. If we could get that on the screen.
To execute forced entry search warrant raids. This type of raid led to the death of at least 81 civilians and 13 officers from 2010 to 2016.
Yeah, it's like the police have too much power. Uh-oh. I don't think I can show graphic images. But you get the point. You get the point. The policeman battle. There's no longer a thin blue line. Now here come the police who, like, do their thing.
I'm sorry, so what is this regarding?
This is a search warrant. Open up.
Shocking imagery.
Be seizing reporters' phone records and emails, and would you prevent your Justice Department from doing that?
Only yours, but beyond yours, they prevent nothing.
But honestly,
Absolutely, positively, it's wrong. It's simply.
Biden man
so you won't let your Justice
I
Department
will
do
not
that?
let that happen.
Friday, President Biden said he would not allow the Justice Department to seize the records of reporters.
The president spoke clearly that he won't allow the abuse of power to intimidate journalists.
Is the Justice Department aware that they are not to seize the records of reporters?
Everyone, I think, is aware.
And so another clip here of these raids, which are unannounced and people often die.
Dynamic entry
Bro,
raids often begin.
And finally,
Stop trying to
testimony before Congress people about this. Ashley Biden's attorney, a woman named Roberta Kaplan, responded by saying, quote, "We should send to the Southern District of New York," unquote.
I find it like really funny that like one of the main criticisms of James O'Keefe is his highly edited videos, and this is Like, we're jumping all over the place here. This is like so selective.
In just 24 days, Ms. Kaplan got her political favor fulfilled when the Southern District of New York approved the first of 19 secret subpoenas. So this is chilling footage, and it kind of begs the question, is there ever a circumstance in which a journalist's reporting should result in a forced entry raid like what we just saw? Judge Kaczynski, you were born under socialist rule. Was it Romania?
Communist.
Communist rule.
Communists.
Communist rule. People generally think governments attacking the press is a uniquely Soviet or communist thing. I've heard some say it is in fact now the new America. So is freedom of the press under attack in the U.S.?
Absolutely. First of all, happy Bastille Day.
Bastille Day.
He doesn't recognize it. Bastille Day is like the French Revolution, man. It's a call to arms, man.
It is. Another day dedicated to freedom. We think we should celebrate
Lamau.
it. It's another day dedicated to freedom. We think we should celebrate it.
You know what, Bastille Day, it led to like a whole other era of feudal lords, of like rich elite crushing the French poor. Like, it did not result in that was like the big kind of takeaway from the French Revolution. A, the poor can do the revolution, but B, it doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna get what they want.
And because they're getting so much fewer. As you said, I grew up under communism. I know very well what it is like, where the approved organs of the government, the press that the government either owns or approves, are treated differently, and everything else is suppressed by often brutal means. You could get shortwave radio, Radio Free Europe, Radio America, but if they caught you, they would break in your house and you'll take your radio and you would not see the light of day for years. So this is really an astonishing and incredible development that they're doing this to the press here.
That doesn't sound like freedom at all.
I should say there are circumstances, and I think we need to be aware of them, where there are certain dangerous criminals, drug dealers, kidnappers, murderers, where police have to go in unannounced and break down doors and use weapons.
Oh,
But
okay.
every one of those enterprises, every time they do it, this is an extremely hazardous enterprise. People get killed all the time, victims get killed all the time, police get killed all the time. And there's no justification for doing it when there's no evidence whatsoever, whether they are journalists or anybody else, that there is any danger involved. Now, this is a tactic that's been used by American law enforcement now for at least 10 years or maybe longer, where they will target somebody, they want to shake them down, they want to rattle them, and so what they do is they will send a SWAT team in the middle of the night to arrest them, and then notify the local or national press so they can be out there and watch the individual being taken out in handcuffs and brought to the car. It's an intimidation tactic. It's a very dangerous intimidation tactic. It's not limited to journalists. It happens to all sorts of white-collar criminals where there's no indication whatsoever, accused criminals, I should say.
Usually, I think the reason they do that in 4 a.m. is so you don't delete a bunch of documents, so that you don't get you're not even awake. There's like no chance for you to wipe a hard drive or anything. That's what happened to Paul Manafort.
Sorry, where there's no indication whatsoever that there is any danger, and there's no excuse for it. I've called out the government on this on more than one occasion, and it's fallen entirely on deaf ears.
Ron Coleman, is this attack on dissenting reporters new, or is it just that it's more visible now?
Well, James, Judge Kaczynski made an excellent point just now. What we're seeing that's new is that the line has been crossed into using it against journalists. That would have been understood as a tactic that was off the table until fairly recently. I was involved in a case, though, and I did a lot more trademark work where I
I love how, like, this is just them venting their grievances. They're just like, and then Big Daddy government came after me too.
Presented
Here's my tale.
a little old man who was a member of the Guggenheim family. And he had a bit of a habit of encouraging people to invest money with him under the impression that he was that much more of a member of the Guggenheim family than he was. When the Guggenheim Financial Services Company got wind of this, before they filed their trademark infringement case against him, they contacted the Southern District, just like on an email like that. And the thing that people have to realize that's terrifying is that the Southern District of New York is a private police force available for the use of major law firms for a wide variety of things. And they did exactly what Judge Kaczynski just described. They raided the guy, an old Holocaust survivor with a gimpy leg, did the perp walk, went to the papers, and of course, he had taken no money from anyone. He was just a kind of, was there maybe some trademark infringement involved? There might have been. We're talking about.
There might have been. I'm getting the sense this guy's he's not giving us the full story here. He's really talking around it quite a bit.
Trademark infringement here. It would have been unthinkable to cross that line with respect to journalists, but remember, I don't have to tell you this, there has been a concerted effort to deny the right to call yourself a journalist to anyone who works for a brand that wasn't recognized as a journalism brand before the internet. So you and OAN and barely Fox.
Usually it's because of the truthiness. It's just like how much they're willing to bend the truth. Like the way you were sort of really talking around the issue there.
You're not considered to be journalists. You're considered to be something else, something less than journalists. Would they have done this even to Fox? I don't think so, because those are recognized.
People believe that about Fox because Fox argued in court that no reasonable person would be watching Tucker Carlson and believe it's news. And just like, it's got Fox News on the bottom, but somehow it's entertainment, so...
brands in the journalism entertainment business.
Well, they tried doing it to that Los Angeles reporter, but there was so much pushback in that case. Viva, as a Canadian attorney, looking at this through an outside lens, what's your perspective on the freedom of press in America right now?
Oh, well, I've been following James for longer than you've been following me, because I couldn't believe the type of journalism that you do, and I'm not putting it in scare quotes. And I said at the time, seeing James call out, dig up dirt on powerful people, I said, how does he not get harassed more than he does? This was before.
So the part I've always wondered about Viva Frei, maybe I can like get a conversation. Maybe he'd actually talk to me. I doubt it though. Is like, where did he get like red pilled or black pilled or whatever? Like, and I guess it's because the Project Veritas videos way back when.
Before you really started getting harassed.
Interesting.
And the tactic that the government and the media does with dissident media is ignore, demonize, and then brutalize in that order. They'll ignore you until you become too powerful to ignore. Then they'll demonize you, so they'll...
Bro, are you just rehashing Gandhi's quote? What is it? First they ignore you. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Mahatma Gandhi.
The media does with dissident media is ignore, demonize, and then brutalize in that order.
Okay.
They'll ignore you until you become too powerful to ignore. Then they'll demonize you, so they'll call you...
Demonize instead of laugh.
All the names that they call you, James. And then when that doesn't work, they'll brutalize you with...
Brutalize, fight. You missed the last part, then you win. Man, Gandhi said it much better. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you. He just said fight twice. So, 2 out of 10. Bad citation, Viva Frei. For a lawyer, you really gotta make sure you're citing your sources there.
The weaponized full force of the law.
He is a bit He is a bit confusing person because seems even keeled. If you watch his live streams, he seems fairly on the level.
going after you, and I've been following the seizure, the warrant because of a diary that was allegedly stolen.
Not by you.
Not, but no, I said when I heard this, it sounded like a setup, and I said this sounds like a setup. Someone's giving this to you so they have an excuse to go after you. I might be a little too black-pilled, as we say now, but it's exactly what ended up happening.
Oh, there it is.
Setting aside the content of that diary, which might be much more relevant now given the content of other materials that have been hacked, it's a pretext. It's a pretext to go after brutalized dissident media after denying that they're media in the first place, and distract you with the procedure so that you can't actually do what you're doing. It's a tactic.
The thing that's really odd about this is that, like, if you follow like how the Supreme Court, I guess, has been ruling with the First Amendment, usually the criticism is that the First Amendment's being used for everything, anything and everything, to like justify all sorts of wild and wacky stuff. And that's why like people are saying that the wall between church and state is starting to crumble, is because of this expansion of the interpretation of the First Amendment. So, and compared to other countries like Canada, where Viva Frei is from, we do restrict speech. We do not allow hate speech. We don't allow consistently transphobic speech. So it's really odd for him to be like, "Oh, America, man, you're really going down the tube," and it's like, bro, you live in a country with far more restricted speech. Why is your criticism directed towards America? It's so weird.
And only against disfavored media would they go after MSNBC or CNN. I mean, this idea that, the new media is not media is entirely bogus. I mean, we have been changed.
There was a really interesting thing I came across, that like most youth don't search on Google anymore. They search on Instagram or TikTok, which I thought was fascinating.
Media has been changing throughout our history. If you look back to the pre-revolutionary days, the authors of the Federalist Papers were not established media. There were people who were writing pamphlets, often anonymously, along with many others, and getting their ideas distributed. And nobody, if you'd asked them, Ben Franklin, are you, or Hamilton, are you in the part of the media? They would have said no. I mean, that's not what we're doing.
You go to the National Press Club, annual.
So this distinction as to being established media and being not established media is just entirely bogus. Media changes as technology changes, as the world changes, and it has to change. It has to change and has to take account of new technology. In Romania, the two newspapers, Scanteia and Romania Libre, those were and the two radio stations, those were the official press. Shortwave, which was different technology, was considered to be illegal. Because
as
it was
a
not
federal
media.
judge, this is a big...
Bro. First Russia, then Hungary, now Romania is considering a gay propaganda law. Romania is considering a bill that would ban minors from being exposed to so-called gay propaganda in schools and in public life, despite warnings from rights groups that it would, quote, fuel Russian propaganda and disinformation campaigns and reinstate censorship in the former communist country. Bro, where you're from, they're really big into censorship, it seems like. Seems like you shouldn't be citing Romania. It's like the first thing that came up when I... Romanian news. Censorship, oh geez, and anti-LGBT, like, come on, man, good chill.
Deal, you're a chief judge, Ninth Circuit.
Yeah, Viva Frei, there he is. How's it going, Chuck? This is the main reason I don't trust anyone on this panel, and trust, I'm using this in a loose way, except Viva Frei, because James O'Keefe is like a known, what is it, provocateur. He edits stuff. This dude, I mean, I'm already getting bad vibes from him. Getting real bad vibes. He allegedly sexually assaulted all the like female clerks, or a bunch of them, at least a dozen. And then this guy, he just seems like a lawyer, like a really boring trademark lawyer. I don't know why he's there, except just to whine about his experiences. And then Viva Frei talking about the American First Amendment. It's so good. It's so rich.
Have you ever seen, in your tenure as a federal judge, you're appointed by Reagan, correct? So you were on the bench for decades. Have you ever seen the FBI
Decades.
raid journalists' homes?
Never. James,
Bro, they did it with oh wait, no, journalists? I bet a bunch of stuff happened during like the 9/11 years.
One reason that it's possible now, one reason we crossed that line was not only the polar...
Frey's also a commercial lawyer. I looked into it, Chuck, and it looks like he stopped being a lawyer. He quit his private practice. He was working as a commercial lawyer, and then he quit to work for himself, and then he quit that to be a YouTuber. So he keeps presenting himself as like a lawyer on YouTube. It's just like, but you're not a practicing lawyer. It's a big difference, my guy. Yeah, when he's talking about the American Constitution, like, where's he coming from? Like, are you a American constitutional lawyer? You know, I see your point though. Like, as a commercial lawyer, like, and this guy's a trademark lawyer. Like,
polarization politically that took place with the election of Donald Trump. But the changes that Judge Kaczynski is referring to here have made the established media brands behave in an anti-competitive fashion precisely because they are no longer remotely interested in investigative journalism or in any way reporting on news that doesn't favor their partisan interests. Their entire interest, in fact, is in shutting you down,
yeah, exactly,
not only because of the ideological competition, but because of the financial competition.
Well, so you represent DC Drano, correct?
Yes.
Speak a minute about the censorship there and how that pertains to this First Amendment issue.
Well, one of the ways that the state has taken upon itself the moral framework to become censors, there are two that we've experienced in the last few years. One is in connection with the plague, right?
The plague.
You just had the panel that spoke about that. So social media has censored a wide range of voices about people who, including sophisticated, highly respected professionals who had different ideas about how to treat COVID, and as well as ideas about the vaccination. The other one is
kind of the worst
elections.
kind of lawyers, yeah, commercial ones.
In 2016, we all know that the Russians hacked the election, but in 2020,
We all know, everybody. We all know that the Russians hacked. They hacked the election.
It became essentially.
I thought that was a left-wing. I thought that was a left-wing conspiracy theory that the Russians hacked the election. The Russians didn't hack the election. They just poisoned the airwaves, which is like the whole problem with the American First Amendment. It says it's being abused by bad actors who are just like absolutely destroying the culture of Americans. Like one of Viva Frey's fans told me he was beginning American as a diss. What do you mean he was becoming American as a diss? To Canada? Oh boy. Yeah, well, we're gonna cover Joe Rogan going hard in on Trudeau.
Against the law, a law that was never passed, it could not be passed, but essentially it became a crime against the state to question election security. A decision was made by the social media.
But wait, they took it up in court like 60 times. What are you talking about? Election security was a big thing of the 2020 election.
Powers
Like
that
we say, bon débat.
Before the election took place, that they would become a willing tool of the state to enforce that censorship. A coalition of attorneys, state attorneys general, almost all of whom, as I understand it, were members of one party, set up a system whereby they would monitor social media for things that might cause hurts to election security. DC Drano is a young man. He's a lawyer. He worked briefly in law before realizing that he could have a lot more fun, like David here, rather than practicing law, doing things on social media. And in particular, one of the things that he realized was that by being an influencer, he can make a lot of money, and he does. He has a...
You hear that, everybody? I should just quit my job and school and just do this all the time. Apparently, I just gotta say the right things, communicate, pass on the right, misinformation. And even I can make real big bucks.
About 3 million followers on Instagram. and he had
His
a
best video in terms of views is a squirrel stealing his GoPro. I mean, that's some good directing there.
His name is Rogan O'Handley.
It's hard to work with animals.
And Rogan, he puts up memes, he pitches stuff. It works great for him.
Wow.
He had a substantial following on Twitter.
No shot.
At one point after the election, Rogan put up a tweet in which he questioned whether or not Joe Biden had been elected as reported, and suggested that the state of California's election security should be audited. A short time later, he was taken off Twitter. He was banned from Twitter for spreading election misinformation.
Yeah.
This was in January, after the election.
January January when? Was it January 6th by any chance?
Commissariat of Election Security, in this case,
This was in January sometime. You know, just vaguely gestures in the direction of January. I found Viva Frey and the JJ to crazy libertarian pipeline. Wait, JJ? What's JJ?
State Department of the Republic of California, the People's Republic of California, I should say, had reported his criticism, Rogan's, of election security in California as a threat to election security.
Are you talking about Joe Rogan?
Now, anyone who's involved in cybersecurity knows that the way you test systems for their security is by running what's called a pen test, a penetration test. The way you trust.
Bro's so excited to fill us in on nobody calls it a penetration test. Like you actually just always call it a pen test. I don't know why he needed to fill us in. He's not Philip DeFranco. Like, come on.
Any system. The way you see if
JJ McCullough. Hello, friends.
The tire has got a hole in it. You put it in a tub of water and you look for the leak. So the idea that by suggesting there was a problem with election security was a threat to election security makes it very clear that what the threat was a threat to the political regime. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. It was an entirely inappropriate use of government power and of Twitter acting as an arm of the United States government. In fact, what we learned thanks to a state level...
He's big though. Yeah, he's got a B+ on Social Blade. He's got follows.
FOIA request by Judicial Watch, which does what real journalists used to do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I should say, too, that Project Veritas was banned from Twitter for accidentally posting in one of our video camcorders on a public street a lamppost with the number of someone's house.
Bro, as if we just accidentally doxed someone. It was an accident. You know, just don't look at that video. Don't dig any deeper. Or ask what the video is about.
That was the excuse that they made for taking Project Veritas off Twitter. But
James, the test run was with Alex Jones. What they got away with Alex Jones, that was the setting.
Alex Jones led a campaign that he is paying. He's now on the hook for tens of millions of dollars. Last I checked. Are you guys really gonna stand Alex Jones? It's amazing.
Of the bar to be done to others, to just unperson, deplatform, demonize, so that.
Is why Quebec You should do a JJ deep dive. I could do a JJ deep dive. That seems interesting.
You know, the society as a whole would accept it because they're bad people. They need to be deplatformed.
414.
But the description that Ron's given, this unholy alliance between government and media, as far as I understand, it's the actual literal definition for fascism. When you have the government and the media doing...
No, it's government and private interests. You idiot.
Each other's bidding. It is fascism.
And you know what's like a real concentrated form of private media? Like influencers and non-regulated off-brand media that pop up and do like weird videos online. You know, just a guy talking. Like, come on.
And let's
That's the video.
Let's transition to another topic that's absolutely...
Because I wanted to check out the reactions to the Andrew Tate stuff, and then I have something else lined up, which is just going to be fun. Internet historian, a good laugh, and then maybe we could check this out. This looks interesting. Canadians' unique Supreme Court. Doesn't look very conservative. Interesting.
Fascistic, I would say. There's no better way to silence a journalist than to steal his reporter's notes and dox his anonymous sources. Sources are critical with journalism, and protecting those sources are codified.
After this video came out, Viva Frei went off the rails, ran for the People's Party. Whoa, wait, he respond like, what do you mean? You're making it sound like he watched this video and then, okay, all right, awesome.
First
awesome.
Amendment. So we have another.
There's a whole video on the alt-right pipeline that I have queued up as well, but that might be tomorrow. We're doing that. I got a bunch of content lined up today, but that would be good content for tomorrow.
Video here, we're gonna play for you. If we can get that on the screen. This is Brian Stelter at CNN. Brian Stelter talking about under the Trump administration, there was an attempt to gag the New York Times, which uses Google as an email client.
So JJ got some success, got a taste of success with the 100,000 views on this Supreme Court Explained, featuring Viva Frei. I missed that. I see.
And Stelter is rightfully indignant about that.
Gag orders against the American news media. That sentence doesn't make any sense, right? It's oxymoronic. The media can't be gagged, sure shouldn't be gagged, but that is exactly what happened. The government enforced a gag order against the New York Times in a leak investigation earlier this year. There's the front page headline. Justice Department waged secret fight to get emails of Times reporters. And the Times couldn't even talk about it. The newspaper.
Bro, imagine comparing the New York Times to One America News Network.
Lawyers were gagged. They couldn't even tell the people involved about this secret fight. This is part of a wider pattern seen first in the Obama years, then in the Trump years, of leak investigations that end up involving snooping
I'm
on
eating mint
reporters.
leaves and I can't taste anything. No, Chuck, no. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Let's just be clear here. Spying on journalists is an affront to the First Amendment. There's no place for it. And now, notably this weekend,
The key part there is like, are you a journalist?
President Biden's Justice Department says it agrees. This DOJ will no longer seize reporters' records.
So the Biden DOJ says in this.
I mean, to be fair, like, it doesn't matter if it's a left-wing or a right-wing party. The executive branch broadens its power. It just does it all the time. It's been like a long-standing concern of civil rights activists and stuff. You've had it since last Saturday, but fully lost taste Friday, I think. Dang. I guess you gotta like find foods that are really like texture-based, you know, crunchy or chewy or like some mix of the two.
Spring or summer of 2021 last year that they're not going to do this, and then while the Attorney General and the President are saying this happens.
We learned that the Biden Justice Department targeted Project Veritas, having its emails seized on
Bro, Jim Jordan.
Microsoft servers.
And to make matters worse,
Salty
the
sweet.
government can send gag orders with these subpoenas that prevent service providers from telling the targets that their information has been given over to the government.
The DOJ
I hate
used
like some of that
secrecy
smokes
orders
too.
against Project Veritas. The DOJ then went behind the judge's back to obtain an extension on 2 sealed non-disclosure orders.
This
Just
is
like
the
so selectively edited.
memo
Just, like,
from the
skipping through legal documents, just like paper moving around. Let's go. What's happening?
Attorney General of the United States, dated July 19, 2021. The Department of Justice will no longer use compulsory legal processes for the purposes of obtaining information or records from members of the news media. While the Attorney General was issuing this memorandum, the Southern District of New York went to various magistrate judges to obtain 200,000 emails from Project Veritas
spicy.
journalists.
Ooh, spicy's good. You got past the white. Okay, I recommend if you're looking for stuff, maybe try to make some chili oil. Make your own chili oil. Ooh, boy, that will cut through anything and everything. Your whole body will shiver from it. And you make dan dan noodles. So good.
And then gagged Microsoft from telling anybody about this. Pretty, I mean.
And did Mr. Potato Head speak out?
Well,
in your defense?
Did who?
Mr. Potato Head?
Mr. Potato Head, no. No, we have not heard anything from Brian Stelter, but we are.
You got to know the meme that Mr. Potato Head is woke or something.
We're suing CNN for defamation,
This man
so
knows
there
his
might
memes.
be.
But that's the whole deal. I mean, if you were embarrassing, if the stuff you were doing, you are embarrassing what they consider to be the sacred cows.
When you say the whole deal, do you mean that there needs to be this indignation from the establishment press for there to be justice?
No, they only are indignant if you are embarrassing people they don't like. If you embarrass, if they embarrass people they like, they're not going to be indignant.
So
they say you have it coming.
It comes down to whether they like us or not.
Well, they like you and you like your message and who you are embarrassing.
James, the argument's easy. You're not a journalist. Yeah. You're a spy. You're a negative force that needs the rules of journalistic standards don't apply to.
And you knew that.
It was in the New York case where I think the prosecution argued that you weren't journalists, and the judge said, "Look, I find it hard to believe that if you said
the memes,
Cronkite was doing what James O'Keefe was doing."
I can never follow like conservative memes. It's always way more effort than payoff. Hopefully, I won't have to get used to no taste. Go back to asking not white spicy at my favorite pho place and feel wild. Yeah, I mean, you gotta live a little. You know? Whenever they say, do you want it spicy? I just say medium. Just say medium and see what happens. And I think I've only once been like really undersold at like an Indian restaurant. I was like the only white guy. I'm like, oh, they gave me white people spicy again.
You wouldn't consider it journalism, but it's the tactic. And in Canada, they're trying the same tactic now by disqualifying people as journalists.
So it really comes down to this, the heart. We talked about this backstage. Even in the law, in the eyes of the law, it says news media. So much of justice here strikes, it depends upon the definition of a journalist. So what is the definition of a journalist?
Someone who is not lying to the public about what's happening. You can't be deceptively editing videos, my guy, and try to call yourself a journalist. I'm sorry.
When blogging was the thing, and I was representing a lot of bloggers, we tested a lot of these issues. We briefly had an organization called the Media Bloggers Association, of which I was the general counsel.
They called him the potato person.
And we argued for the proposition that bloggers were entitled to the same protections. The people whose platforms were blogging and who did journalism were entitled to the same protections as people whose platforms were, at the time, newsprint and who did journalism. To quote the great Insta pundit Glenn Reynolds, journalism is something you do, not something you are. That's a point that...
Wait, what? Why are you making that... You are a journalist if you do journalism. The problem is, are you doing journalism? And if you're not a journalist. Why are you making this so complicated? Things that aren't. And things that are, sometimes be. What?
Judges had a lot of trouble with in the 90s because most of them were not particularly computer relevant, computer literate. And the internet, especially social media, were in its infancy. Now, I think the situation has improved markedly. I think judges are harder to buffalo. The thing is, in the Southern District of New York in particular, there are enough magistrates, especially considering the percentage of magistrates in that court who are former prosecutors, that eventually you'll find one that will give you what you want.
So Judge Kaczynski, as a judge in federal court, is it normal for the government to seek warrants and subpoenas from so many different, there were some 6, 7, 8 magistrate judges that the DOJ went to obtain our reporters' emails? Is that normal?
You know, I knew you were going to ask me this question, and the answer is I don't know. What I do know is...
Come on, man, that was your chance to lean in. Like, you're here to create the disinformation. Don't miss your shot. You guys rehearsed this.
That courts have a procedures in place to avoid judge shopping. So, for example, if you bring a
Judge
case
shopping.
and there's another case that's related, you're supposed to advise the court. Or there are strict rotations and of where judges are drawn for cases where they're randomly assigned. So there are procedures. This is something that the courts are very aware of, the judge shopping problem.
Dang, judges know that people try to seek out particular judges for their favor? Man, what a twist.
You know, going to one judge, not getting what you want, going to another judge, going to another judge. I'm not sufficiently familiar of how it is they went to 9 different judges. So I'm not prepared to say it was not legitimate. It may have been different cases, different time periods, it may have been different courts. So I can't.
Well, in December of 2021, the federal judge, Judge Annalisa Torres, assigned a special master over the FBI, citing journalistic privileges. And after that point, the government went back to Microsoft and continued to try to gag them from telling anybody that they'd taken our emails. So
Well,
if you were Judge Torres...
The one thing judges do not like is having, take great umbrage at, is having their orders disobeyed. Again, I haven't read the order, I don't know exactly what they did, but judges do not like being fooled.
I started reading The Utopia of Rules by Graeber, and he was saying that 53% of journalists had no post-secondary education in the 70s, saying they were still journalists, even if they didn't have a master's, like some journalists ask now. He was making a journalist don't need that rule to be good journalists. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the key examples you could give is like Hunter S. Thompson. His entire style was almost... seemed almost impossible it could be journalism because it was saturated with his opinion. But you would inevitably leave his article having known and understood more about the subject than before the article, and that knowledge would hold up, and it would be pretty, sharp information. And famously, Hunter S. Thompson is one of the only reporters to ever get much of any information out of the, oh god, that biker gang, the Hells Angels. Wrote a whole book on it. So yeah, gonzo journalism exactly spawned that movement. And certainly I would call Andrew Callahan, for instance, from Channel 5, a gonzo journalist very much in the tradition of Hunter S. Thompson, just maybe not as wild and wacky. He tries to play the straight man, the non-wacky character, and it works. And so absolutely, what matters for journalism, whether you are a journalist, is whether other journalists call you one. If you have respect within the field, and if other journalists who are good at sussing out the truth and sussing out fact versus fiction start saying, hey, what's with all these selectively edited videos, or we just caught you in a sting that you're setting up on us, it looks kind of bad. Tucker Carlson's dad was one. Yeah, oh man. I mean, the people we become, parents have a lot to do with it.
And do not like...
Viva?
Well, James, I say you might have the curse of too much knowledge. For anybody who doesn't appreciate what's being discussed here, Judge Torres issued a special master in one case to do the triage of documents that were seized on Project Veritas cell phones, so the prosecution wouldn't necessarily see anything they weren't supposed to see. Undisclosed to that Judge Torres were previous orders where the prosecution already had...
That's why they hate getting canceled, because they can't hold up to scrutiny. Yeah, there's the flattening of the term scrutiny and canceled. Oh, jeez.
Had access to all of that information anyhow, so the special master appointed was effectively irrelevant and effectively led one judge to think her order was being respected when it wasn't at all. And like Judge Kaczynski says, I mean, if I'm as a human, that irritates me.
And the government did not disclose they already had these orders?
They did not disclose to Judge Torres.
They didn't, because there is no accountability for prosecutors in this country, state
or federal.
Fair. Yeah, I don't think I would argue with him on that one.
But there can be.
But so that is something that everyone in this room is probably thinking is, but no one's ever held accountable. Nothing ever happens to these people, which was going to be my final question, and we'll get there. But you said that accountability is possible. How so?
It is possible. I think judges need to take this very seriously. If a court is lied to, it needs to say so in no uncertain terms and identify the parties.
That's why they love populism, because you can propagandize it better than your peers. I mean, I kind of think that populism is like like a symptom of a bad economy. Like you get populism as people have a harder time getting by, and also as they feel their voice is less and less represented by government. Once those two things start happening, then you get populism, left-wing and right-wing populism both.
I wrote an opinion 25 years ago, a case called United States versus Kojayan. You can look it up. And what happened in that case...
Let me look up the court documents right now.
Government repeatedly lied to the court. And what I did is, along with my colleagues, we were unanimous, wrote an opinion saying the government lied. We identified the lawyer who lied by name, and we identified the supervisor by name. And my understanding is, this happened 25 years ago, that opinion was circulated for decades in that U.S. Attorney's office. Okay. And when new lawyers came in, they were told, better be careful, you might be Kaczynski'd.
Wow, his last name became a verb. That's what the point of this story is. That's how famous he is, everybody.
Coleman.
If judges did this, if judges took this seriously, it would make a tremendous difference. The FISA court issued an order. We're all familiar with the order where they said a lawyer lied to the Justice Department. The Justice Department lied to the court, and we are so outraged about it.
I'm pretty sure like that first clip we saw with the CNN like journalist being upset about like the government coming after journalists was about FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Service Agency. It's got like its own court system that's like shielded from scrutiny, and it's been like a definitely like a hobby horse of civil rights attorneys who've been like, yo, why does this still exist? What's going on? It's a pretty weird system, but it's generally how you like unpack documents that have like top secret and stuff like that. That's, yeah.
And then they did basically nothing. They didn't name the lawyer. They didn't do an investigation. They didn't charge anybody with contempt. Basically, what they said is, oh, we're so unhappy about this. But the FISA court is exactly a place where you need total candor from the government, because not only is it ex parte, but most of the time there's never any disclosure to anybody. Well, so there's never any opposition.
It should be noted that transparency, the ACLU is defending Project Veritas, which usually makes people react, and they're trying to unseal these affidavits. But Ron Coleman, before the internet, if the government wanted your records, you'd know. They'd come to your door, they'd take your literal notebooks, they would subpoena them, and you'd know about it. But now with this advent of the cloud, the principle here is that if your emails are housed in a cloud and the feds can go get secret warrants to obtain them.
That's assuming, James, the NSA hasn't already gotten them outside of that process entirely and bled them through channels to the Justice Department or the FBI so that they would know what to ask for and where to find it.
Wait, hold up.
So how does
ACLU is defending Project Veritas?
How does a journalist do their job? How do they protect their secret government sources?
At great risk.
Scribble it on small pieces of paper, and if need be, swallow them.
All right, let's look at... This is very odd. ACLU comment on FBI raid of Project Veritas founder. Cold War era court. Is that really how old it is? New York. The following is a statement from Brian House, senior staff attorney with the ACLU's Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project in response to reports of an FBI raid on Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe. Quote, Project Veritas has engaged in disgraceful deceptions, and reasonable observers might not consider their activities to be journalism at all. Nevertheless, the precedent set in this case could have serious consequences for press freedom. Unless the government had good reason to believe that Project Veritas employees were directly involved in the criminal theft of the diary, it should not have subjected them to invasive searches and seizures. We urge the court to appoint a special master to ensure that law enforcement officers review only those materials that were lawfully seized and that are directly relevant to a legitimate criminal investigation. And it sounded like they did appoint a special master. So, okay. That's interesting.
Them on pieces of paper.
James, in the old country. James, one thing, when you talk about accountability, like I don't mean to be too black-pilled. There can't be accountability in this fascistic regime where you have the media not acting as the watchdog of the government, but as the lapdog of the government. And when they're there,
he worked on that one for a while.
Scrutinizing the government, but carrying their water and not challenging them, but amplifying them. You've got what Nancy Pelosi referred to as a wrap-up smear, but at the judicial level. You got one party doing the bidding of the other, and the other one covering up the wrongdoings of the other.
And you had a point to make about that?
Well, I actually...
Bro, Trump tried to overthrow the government in a violent insurrection. What are you talking about?
Actually have a solution, a possible solution proposed, something not general at all. This doctrine goes back long before the internet. There's a case in 1975 by the name of Miller. And what the Supreme Court held there is, if you give your money to a bank...
And then he told his wife, when I say it, you answer, that's right.
...bank, then you don't have any privacy interest in it. So if you have $1 million, whatever sum, you keep it in your mattress, it's yours, you're private, the government needs a warrant to come in and search your mattress and find it. But if you turn it over to a bank, or any other institution, then you have given consent to a third party, and when you've given consent to a third party, you've given consent to the government. That's
true. Like, this is like a big thing for the, like, all of the organizers of the Freedom Convoy who are getting, getting reamed by the government, who is just like saying, you put your money in a bank? Well, looks like we can seize that while we find out if you did crimes or not.
Called the third party doctrine. And it needs to be rolled back. It needs to be attacked, and it needs to be challenged, and it needs to be rolled back because it now applies not just to banks, it applies to everything. It applies to your internet provider, it applies to your websites, it applies to just everything you do, your post office, everything that you do goes through the internet, which means you have consented. Once you go outside your home, you have consented to give this information to the cloud or whatever. You've disclosed it as a third party, so you no longer have Fourth Amendment protections. So this is outrageous because this winds up being most of what you own, most of what you know.
Your search histories. Your search histories. What do you think Google doesn't know about you?
Not my search history.
It's there.
So preventing the government from illegally taking your things is half the battle. And then once they've taken your things, you have to get them back.
Good luck.
Exactly. Which we're going to talk about the good luck portion of what you just said. This is Harmeet Dillon. Ron, you work with her, and she's on Tucker talking about some of the nuances regarding this case.
Warrants from different judges in the Southern District of New York to spy on Project Veritas's emails. To date, it looks like Project Veritas has been spied on to the tune of 200,000 emails that the DOJ secretly collected, and by the way, also did not tell a federal judge who is overseeing the seizure of our clients' materials from journalists who worked on that Ashley Biden story, which, by the way, Project Veritas never even ran with it. And so what the DOJ has done is weaponized the DOJ to spy on a journalist.
This is the petition, the motion that sits on the federal judge's desk to get back the stuff. It's called a 41G motion
That could have
that we filed. So I guess the question is, and we know the answer, but I want to know why. Would this ever happen to the Washington Post or the New York Times or, I don't know, these established organizations? And the answer is it won't. But why not?
Because Mr. Potato Head would,
What?
have
Mr.
a hissy
Potato
fit.
Head.
Well, wait a minute.
She says
there is a case
like
that
I say, I had a
actually
productive
did raise
day.
the hackles of First Amendment types, which
What are you hiding, lady?
actually did involve a gag order on the New York Times, and it's a case that you know.
Maybe talk about the nuances of that case, and because they didn't actually, the Trump DOJ didn't actually go through with it, or did they?
Well, what happened was in light of all the arcs and rays between you and the New York Times, again, you have a pending defamation claim in the Supreme Court of the State of New York and the County of Westchester against the New York Times, which, as we know, passed the motion to dismiss claim stage. And while that was pending, the Times found itself a little bit involved in the raid on your house. Strangely enough, they knew about it very, very quickly, like while it was happening.
I got a text message from a national security reporter right after they took me out of handcuffs, who knew everything about the search warrant and the deal.
They got the photo up because it's part and parcel of the demonizing, then brutalizing. They got the photo up. They did the same thing with these pre-dawn raids of Roger Stone, Paul Manafort.
But Roger Stone, this goes to the point that Judge Kaczynski, that's a dangerous man. That's a guy who, you know, with his...
He's drawing the line at Roger Stone. That's awesome.
His skills, those deputies could have been all laid out in no time at all.
Oh my God. No, he's dangerous because of the information, not because he knows karate.
Judge, you said good luck getting your stuff back. The government has over 40 or so items that they seized from our reporters, laptops, etc. They actually have 2 of my phones. They still have these things. Ooh. Does the law allow the government to hold seized items indefinitely? At what point should the government be forced to either indict me, which would unseal the probable cause they used to obtain the warrants, or give the property back?
You know, the formal answer is no, they can't keep it forever. The practical
he's a judge, but not a judge. He had to retire because a dozen women who clerked for him accused him of sexual misconduct.
So it is yes.
What does that mean?
What that means is, under federal law, and they can seize property, assuming this is not contraband, if it's drugs or, you know, something like that. But this is not.
Redid all my logos this morning.
These are things that would be used in an investigation or that could be used in court to prove a case. And at some point, you're entitled to go into court under 41G.
His Wikipedia picture's super creepy
and
too.
ask the court to force the government to give it back. And the government comes back and says, but we still need it. We are still investigating.
But at least we know that there's something called the Speedy Trial Act.
Well, the Speedy Trial Act only kicks in if you...
Man, where are these people for, like, black defenders who have to, like, repeatedly... like give in to plea bargains because they don't get speedy trials?
Have an arrest or an indictment.
No, but I'm saying that the government's ability to...
Does anybody think about the white-collar criminals here and how the federal government really screws them over in court?
Make excuses, and as you said, there is a
it's just a vanity thing? Yeah, they're all just complaining about how they lost in court. A bunch of failed lawyers and judges being like, man, we really do suck at law, but you know what we're good at? Panels.
Rule, and then there's what we've seen in connection with the January 6th prosecutions. There's a certain amount of discretion always given to trial judges in a broad range of categories. And the discretion baked into the Speedy Trial Act has been so routinely abused. And again, in that, you know, when the government comes back and says, so there's also something else that non-lawyers have to understand, which is that there is a presumption, it is actually a legal presumption. The government doesn't appear in the courts as an equal to a defendant, even though you would, technically speaking, the burden of proof is on the government, and therefore you would think that they should have to be the ones doing the heavy lifting, but both culturally and socially, as well as in many legal doctrines, you always have to be careful when explaining the law in the presence of the court. So, but the government can get away with stuff that private lawyers can't. They can make excuses.
Yeah, it's almost like people have been harping on this forever, like how police officers' word is just taken at a special value, especially with qualified immunity. Like, come on.
That private lawyers can't. and they're going to get the benefit of the doubt, because if you're a judge, you don't want to be the guy who let the mobster off on a technicality. And that's how it goes.
Well, James, you'll get your phones back, but when you're talking about digital information, you're never going to get that back because you're never going to know if it's, they'll sign a certificate or an affidavit of destruction of evidence. It'll be the same prosecution that concealed the fact that they had this evidence from one judge when they knew that they were banking on it in front of another judge.
Man, he's just riffing right now. He's just like spinning a yarn. He's like, you know, they could do this. You know, have you considered this hypothetical I just made up?
It's gone. They have it forever. All that they wanted was lists, names, donors, sources. They've got it. You'll get your phones back.
It seems as though the constitutional crisis is once you take those anonymous sources from the notebooks, even if they're electronic notebooks, same thing, that what possible remedy is there for the affected or aggrieved journalist at that point in time?
It's going to be black-pilled Viva today, but there is no effective remedy other than oversight and sanctions for abuse.
What is oversight and sanctions? How do we do that?
Have you considered?
I have my answer. I'm just curious what yours.
I mean, we all know about
You can't copy information in the internet age. What are you talking about, Chuck?
Klein Smith lawyer who didn't just lie but falsified evidence by manually redacting information, submitting it to a FISA court or having it submitted, obtaining an unlawful renewal of a FISA warrant, was caught, pleaded guilty.
Wait, what?
1 year retroactive disbarment and no prison time. And he'll probably be lauded as a hero because politics ruins everything, and what he did for the good of the party. There's oversight and punishment.
Wait, it sounds like they got the guy, and then he got punished by a judge who made a judgment, because that's what judges do.
Has been readmitted as well.
Oversight? Sanctions? Yeah, I know. What does this say? They're pulling from left-wing arguments. They're pulling from right-wing arguments. I don't think they know what they're talking about. They're like, yeah, the law really sucks. But wait, it is constructed because there's these bad actors out there that we gotta, you know, defend the law against. Oh, okay, in that case, yeah, regulations are a good thing. But, you know, free speech.
Yeah, it's over. He's back in business.
He was disbarred or suspended for 6 months.
No lesson learned, no meaningful punishment.
The argument the government is going to give is we have this piece of evidence. Let's say it's not a phone. Let's say they go into some place and they find a dagger with blood in it.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, let's just say that.
Right.
And they
keep
keep it and they're investigating. And the owner of the dagger must come to court and say, look, this is my knife I used to cut beef with.
Sure.
And the government comes back and says, well, we're still investigating. We're not sure. We took samples.
Seems
they're not panning out.
Yeah.
And we got to ask more people where was the dagger bought and so on. The government can
probably shouldn't give back the dagger to somebody who might be the murderer.
Tell a pretty good story for a very long time as to why it should not give back this piece of evidence.
Okay.
And
yeah, I see that.
Again, having been a judge for decades, it is very difficult to second guess. Not because you have a great respect for the government or anything else, but they tell you we need more time to investigate.
Well, it should be noted that the crimes in this case, the warrants, the statutes that were transporting stolen documents across state lines, which at the Washington Post and New York Times is called Tuesday.
It got like 2 laughs. It got like 2 laughs. Oh,
state lines, which at the Washington Post and New York Times is called Tuesday.
Oh, that's so pathetic.
You mentioned accountability. Let's go back to the accountability issue. How do we solve this? Because it seems like things are so broken in our Justice Department, and it's self-evident by the fact that they're, you know,
It's self-evident by the fact that Trump is still walking free, and despite like directing a violent insurrection to overthrow the government. It's super weird, eh?
I never thought this would happen. 2 years ago, I didn't think they're pointing guns at us now and just taking our stuff, and saying that you are transporting stolen. I mean, this is absurd. So it seems like what you're not very hopeful here about me getting our stuff back.
I'm not hopeful about you getting your stuff back. I am somewhat hopeful about changing the culture.
Okay.
Keep doing
Now
what
they're
you're
going
doing.
too far.
Keep embarrassing them. They hate it. They hate being embarrassed. They hate being shown that they don't follow the rules that themselves that they apply to others.
Who's they? Like federal bureaucrats? Like federal prosecutors?
They hate being shown to apply different rules to different people based on criteria that they say are irrelevant.
These people are all joined by like a common enemy, and it's like federal prosecutors. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
So you and others out there who are in the business of, I'll call it counter-journalism, but it is journalism.
Counter-journalism.
Counter in the sense that
I
they
don't
are
know.
not.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Counter-journalism, because it's like, you know, it's counter to journalism.
Mainstream, who are telling the truth, are getting more and
Basically what
more
the judge
and
said,
more
yeah.
people to listen. As reality keeps eroding the viewership and the credibility and the visibility of what the mainstream press is, doing the kind of stuff you are doing and doing the kind of stuff that you guys are doing is tremendously important. And you just never give up, never apologize,
surrender.
never
apologize, even if you've been credibly accused by a dozen women that you've sexually assaulted them. Don't apologize. Don't admit defeat. It doesn't matter what the allegations are.
See, because you are right.
Shamelessness, everybody.
James, I mean, I would say that the solution is sort of like a top-down and a bottom-up, and at the same time, and you just hope they meet somewhere in the middle. You got to keep exposing the corruption, the hypocrisy, and you got to make it cool to not tolerate this crap because of politics. It's not because your ally is doing it that it's acceptable. And one way to, you know, sort of set that standard, if anyone didn't get the reference of Potato Head before, that's Brian Stelter's online meme name, Stelter.
Oh, okay.
Is that his name?
No, they call him a
They call him
potato.
Potato. I don't know
Potato
why.
Head?
No,
So
Is that because there's nothing between his ears? It's all potato?
least of his problems.
the idea is that, you know, Stelter, if he had the slightest bit of dignity, would be as outraged when what he was complaining about against the New York Times is performed against Project Veritas. But politics guides him like blinders on a horse.
It should be noted that the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press, Ed Snowden's organization, the ACLU are defending Project Veritas in this case and have requested the judge unseal. But you're right. Some other organization, New York Times, has been assigned.
I love how they're like criticizing mainstream media, but in every possible breath, they're using the brand recognition, the sort of legitimacy of these organizations to make their own cause seem more legitimate than it really is. Especially when like ACLU's first line is like, okay, Project Veritas aren't exactly good people, but this case matters.
Assigning their entire national security team to investigate me.
You're the cool dad on the panel. You don't need to make sense. Just got to look cool. Yeah.
So there does seem to be a division in the press between people who actually
He's
believe
just got a vibe. Viva Frey is just there to vibe.
in principle and then just believe in personalities or fiefdoms. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Ron or Viva.
Abe Rosenthal is long gone. The idea that the Times or any of these media institutions, these media
instead of David
corporations are higher or better or dedicated to some public purpose is preposterous. They are ambitious, highly credentialed, well-connected people, and they're mostly interested in furthering careers as in any other field. Where you find the spunkiest and the most...
Spunkiest?
The most...
What is with these... Is that a potato joke?
Independent-minded and the biggest risk takers
JJ.
are
Yeah.
here in this room,
we'll find
on
out
this
what that means.
stage, people who are willing to make a little bit less, make a lot less, but to do things that matter. And that's what it's about.
On the topic of the New York Times, everybody should read the book The Gray Lady Winked. You know, people think it's worse now than it's ever been. I think the reality is it's always been this bad. It's just now much more exposed. And the more people keep talking about it, the more people learn, and eventually they say enough is enough. The New York Times can't get away with this. They shouldn't get away with this, and they don't deserve to get away with this just because they are on a pedestal.
Okay, the Gray Lady Winked is a book by Ashley Rinsberg. It's an investigation of the New York Times. The Gray Lady Winked, How the New York Times Misreporting, Distortions, and Fabrications Radically Alter History. The book consists of 10 chapters, each of which looks at how instances of major reporting by the New York Times impacted American and world policy, politics, and history. I mean, it's the New York Times. Like, are you for real? Like, they've had some incredibly bad takes. It's kind of what makes them funny. It's like the Journal of Record and like had some really ridiculous. Okay. Ooh, he's gonna nail the New York Times to the wall, everybody. The book was a response to Rinsberg learning from Shire's The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich that, at the outside of World War II, the New York Times reported that Poland invaded Germany. Lol. Lamau. Here we go. Here's some criticism. Max Hunder of Kiev Post said that, quote, the main body of his work is factual and well-researched and can be read as a reasonable case for the prosecution against the journalistic mistakes of one of the best-known newspapers in the world. However, Hunder also said that, quote, some of his assertions require a sizable leap of faith. He maintains that the current iteration of the newspaper wants to propagate socialist policies, yet he cannot identify a smoking gun, which would demonstrate why this is the case. All right, classic. He uses, like, the inadequacy of the New York Times throughout time. That goes back over 100 years. And like, yeah, look, they made mistakes, everybody. So, clearly. Socialism.
But the fact that journalism sounds to me like you're saying that must be done by people who are not part of the credentialed media, but yet the law treats those people differently. The law would, I mean, I think it's self-evident that the FBI is not going to just start raiding the New York Times and CNN and the Washington Post.
That's not the law.
That's not the law.
That's not the law.
That's a government agency that has law enforcement powers that is part of the executive branch. It's true that depending on the executive, they may or may not listen to the executive, but it is not the law. The law, I have said, and I said well after Judge Kaczynski retired, that in the present crisis, everyone knows that the executive branch has failed, and everyone knows that the legislative branch has failed, but not enough people appreciate the extent to which the judicial branch has failed time and time again on the Trump election cases, on the COVID cases.
Oh no!
It is.
Oh no! Not the overturning of Roe v. Wade. It's actually that when Clarence Thomas was ruling on a case in which his wife was directly implicated, that was the great judicial travesty. I don't know. Interesting take there.
Such an extraordinary lack of spine. I think, and I would love to have this discussion with Judge Kaczynski, I think the internet has made judges look over their shoulders at what other judges are doing much more than was the case when I came into the profession. And
the judges are all on the internet, everybody. All right, we're done with these folk. That was pretty dull, I gotta say. That was a bunch of old men griping about their lives. That was really much just therapy hour for tryhards, for freedom, free speech tryhards. Meanwhile, in the real world, where real censorship happens, Russia threatens Swiss newspaper with legal action for publishing an image of Putin with a clown nose. Sure sounds like an attack on free speech. I don't know, man. Or how about this? You're not big into free speech? What about free assembly? Nope. Arizona troopers say, no, we're gonna gas you, which is an abortifacient. And you're gonna gas you all with our tear gas, for protesting for abortion rights. So looks like the police know how to do stuff. They know how things work. Je suis un Swiss newspaper, puis I report on les nouvelles. Okay, dumb joke. Mary Trump says that Donald Trump's gonna turn on everybody. I mean, that's not a big surprise. I mean, come I mean, Donald didn't do this by himself, she said. He was enabled at every turn from people in his inner circle, everybody in the executive branch, and almost the entirety of the Republican Party. Yeah, go deep, sister. This was a big story that broke the other day. Texas hospitals are refusing to see people with serious pregnancy issues for fear of violating post-Roe abortion ban, a medical group says. Yeah. The group said a woman was refused treatment for her ectopic pregnancy until it eventually ruptured. Oh, it was a Je suis Charlie joke? But yeah, okay, that too. Oh, sorry. I missed it. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. I forgot that arc. Which was pretty big here in Quebec too, actually. Je suis Charlie. And it made a lot more sense than the Anglophone. We were all like translating it to I am Charlie. Just like, it's 3 words. Come on, you guys. A prosecutor seek a 15-year sentence for an armed Capitol rioter. That's quite a big sentence. Quite the large sentence. So that's good. Catching some real time. That's the longest. I think the next record's like 4 years or something. It's Waldo, not Charlie? Are you messing? You just said it was a Je suis Charlie joke. Okay, I'm done. I don't understand English. I don't understand English anymore. Je parle seulement français maintenant, ok? Ça va être un stream en français maintenant. On faisait rien en anglais. Je quitte. Okay, lies. We're gonna see people's reactions to Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, we got in pretty deep in on him. Learning about him yesterday from the horse's mouth, and what a misogynist! Wow, guy really doesn't like women, really doesn't like them. So let's see what H3 has to say. Yeah.
Andrew Tate, as you guys know, Cobra, the human trafficker, as we like to call him,
wow,
is making his rounds
right,
on the internet.
because of all the pimping he done did. He really was pretty cavalier about like all the pimping, which I thought was a bit odd. Thought that was probably not the best take.
Internet in a big way. He was on Aiden Ross. He was on xQc. And he's being exposed to millions.
We're all learning about this guy.
Do they all know about him and what, or they just ignore all that stuff?
Dude, I don't think these people care. They're just like, oh, this is a hot guess.
I think they don't really know.
But how can they not know if they're? You have to do some preparation for a guest interview. If you type Andrew Tate, and try to look up anything about him, the first thing you're gonna see is a video of him beating the shit out of a woman and being arrested very recently for human trafficking and kidnapping. Okay.
Okay, let's Google
this is who we're dealing with.
If I could just talk about the Dave Portnoy situation, he explains early in the podcast that Josh was the one who really wanted to bring on Cobra Tate.
Bro, Romanian police raided the home of prominent pro-Trump online personality Andrew Tate this month as part of a human trafficking investigation, bringing new attention to Tate's ties to leading figures in the American MAGA movement. Before the April 11th raid, Tate was best known as a kickboxer and vocal Trump supporter because, of course, on social media portrayed himself as a wealthy cigar-smoking playboy, prompting one admirer to dub him the king of toxic masculinity. That would explain, like, the very strong skew in the people who like join. Is she on Valium or she's always low energy like that? Yeah, she's always like super chill. But Tate's treatment of women had an ugly side. In 2016, he was booted off the British version of Big Brother over a video of him hitting a woman with a belt. This March, Britain's Daily Mirror tabloid profiled him and his brother Tristan Tate and their Romania-based business, which used webcam models to trick men into sending the brothers tens of thousands of dollars. He left that part out. In one video on his YouTube channel, Andrew Tate said 40% of the reason he moved to Romania was because Romanian police were less likely to pursue sexual assault allegations. Okay, we'll just keep coming back to that article over and over and over again.
Just to get that out
Josh is
there.
a little piece of shit.
Damn, what an awful man.
So Dave is still in the running for bestie. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just trying to keep
Look,
him
David's
in the running.
the
That's
adult,
all.
okay?
Yeah.
Josh is what, 17?
Probably like 20.
He is 20.
Yeah. But anyway, I think Dave at least challenged him a bit. But in my opinion, it's like, and people say that about xQc. He challenged him. But it's like
xQc, come on.
His argument is so bad faith and so nonsense. It's like challenging. It's like having an argument with a Nazi about why they shouldn't exterminate all Jews.
Right.
Engaging in the conversation is valid. It's giving validity to it, even if you're disagreeing, because it's
We're back to like the same old conversation. Is it sunlight or is it valid? Is it signal boosting? And I guess like xQc did not go in with it with like any of the information required to properly, like, he just ended up signal boosting it.
so insane that it shouldn't be even engaged with seriously, because the net positive for all this for Cobra Tate is just going to be that he gets more fans, even if 90% of the people thinks he's crazy.
Yeah.
I would say xQc was pushing back more than the others. I mean, I agree with you that they shouldn't platform at all, but
xQc, he has like literally young men. This is his target demo.
Yeah.
If 10% of his audience were like
5%,
this guy's
1%.
dope, that's a net loss for humanity.
Yeah,
Some people
absolutely.
just are not fucking worth talking to, genuinely. What do you say to a Nazi? How do you convince a Nazi not to kill Jews? You be like, now, do you realize that you're killing people and that's bad?
Right.
It's like, okay.
And even more specifically, the Jews.
Yeah. Anyway, here's a little clip from Dave Porks. This is the part where
is
you're
what
trying to
he's
convince
saying.
Nazis.
I had a bunch of Tate followers, I guess, who like watch the stream, and I asked them, do you think men and women are equal? And 75% of those fuckers said no.
He's not to kill Jews.
Yeah.
It's not a sane
I had to be like, guys, get help. What are you doing?
thing he's saying.
Yeah.
And you're not going to talk reason to him. You're trying to convince him of something that's utterly nuts on its face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. It's like you're putting this guy. He's entertaining and he's funny and he's crazy.
So yesterday when we watched Andrew Tate, I had quite a bunch of new follows, like 30 new follows, and a bunch of them I'm realizing now were here because they were Tate stands. And I was figuring it out during stream, like, oh, okay, I guess these people aren't critical, they're simping. And so I polled the chat, how many of you think that men and women are equal? And 75% of them said no. And I had to be like, okay, I'm sorry, guys. I gotta level with you. Gotta level with you right now.
But he's serious, and that's what's so fucked up, dude. He's serious about what he's.
It's like a really awkward, like, realization I'm coming into is that like I'm mostly getting a lot of big views when like the right wing part of the internet gloms onto like a keyword that I'm using. So first it was the Freedom Convoy, and then it was Andrew Tate, and it's like, oh, he's so hard because it's like cool views, but these people are unhinged and broken. Like some of them aren't going to make it to the other side. You know what I mean? They're not gonna soften their views or whatever.
Say. So like, yeah, it's entertaining because he's so nuts, but it's actually just really fucked up to even platform this guy at all.
Oh, now I feel bad.
It's definitely a net L for the world. I'd actually like to see what xQc challenged him on. I don't think we ever watched that, did we, Love?
He challenged him on everything he said, pretty much.
Is there a
Especially
good
around
highlight?
like the typical alpha stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
the alpha stuff
I
is
guess
mega
his
cringe.
top clips would be.
If you can find some, that'd be cool. I'm gonna keep watching this clip and let me know if you find anything interesting about that.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him, and the intimate parts
Bro,
of her body
rehab.
belong to him
Yeah,
because
I
they're in a
am too,
relationship.
like-
And she wants to
But at the same time, like, I'm conscious that it creates like a pretty tough space for people who are like sensitive to that. You know what I mean? Like who are just like, I can't deal with that level of like, I don't know, immaturity.
There's like African cultures where they don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to like attack people's ideas and not them personally, so that they can
What's giving you the
smart
vibe?
What? Yeah,
He
and
doesn't
also
seem very
Ada-
smart to
He had
me.
like within a couple breaths of him saying he used to like pimp women out on his like Romanian webcam company or whatever. He like followed it up with how he was a feminist. It was just like impossible to take him seriously. He's like getting a massage by a woman who's silent the entire time as he's like talking about women's issues. It was super cringe.
watching the Aiden Ross, he goes, "I don't think you're a chauvinist. I just want to be clear."
Why?
But so he goes, "Yeah, no, I'm not a chauvinist. But anyway, I'm down for women empowerment. They can do OnlyFans. They just have to give me the money."
Yeah,
Because
it's okay to say you're not the person able to do it, but I don't want to say it's not possible. Yeah, it's good to like keep that forgiveness in your heart kind of thing. Like to err is human, to forgive is divine. But some people, man, oh my God, do not belong.
women are. He has a fucking sweatshop of human trafficked women he forces into webcam slavery.
Allegedly.
Like,
Yeah, he keeps like denying this stuff, but then he's like, "I'm not saying that they're
then he
property. I'm just saying that I own them
That they
and I
belong
have
to
a
the
financial
men."
stake in them.
Yeah.
That's property.
Yeah.
You're describing property.
also, if you consider what we talked about on Wednesday, he used to have on his pickup site an anecdote about how.
Here, it's right here.
Yeah, I've been running a webcam studio for nearly a decade. I've had over 75 girls work for me, and my
Yeah.
business model is different than 99% of webcam owners.
Yikes.
Over 50% of my employees were actually my girlfriend at the time. And all of my
Yikes.
girlfriends, none of them were in the adult industry before they met me.
Right, so
How
he's
is
saying-
this something he's proud of?
Go down.
it
What
sounds like
my
you're
job
grooming
was to
them.
make women fall in love with me. Literally, that was my job. My job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, test if she's quality, get her to fall in love with me to where she do anything I say, and then get her on a webcam so we become rich together.
What
Whether
the
you agree or disagree with what I did, with their loyalty, submission,
Bro.
and love for me doesn't matter. You cannot
Bro.
reject the results, and the results are simple. My girlfriends would do more for me
Man, I
than
wish I'd seen this
99.9% of men's wives would do for them.
Yikes.
Cool.
This is
And he
so
he has
disturbing.
pictures of
very
like
disturbing.
them tattooing his name on them
Yeah.
and shit.
Oh,
But you know,
my
and then you take
God.
in
How do you have this as an admission?
Yeah, why would you
Well,
do
he's
that?
who he
This
is.
He's taken this. You'll notice this is on the Wayback Machine
Yeah, 'cause
because
he's
he has
taken it
removed all
down.
of this
Yeah, of
because he is basically just admitting to.
No, because-
sex
But
acts.
it was
coming
still
from-
up not that long
Dude,
ago,
like
right?
a month or
This is
two.
from,
Yeah.
uh, this is from last summer, but I think it was up
remember
until like
looking
the
at
end
it.
of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's getting so much mainstream exposure, he
Yeah.
realized that he stands to make a lot more money if he's not admitting openly to human trafficking people, which is what he does. That's how he got rich.
Right.
And he's admitted
Even
so
though
much.
he constantly says he doesn't care about being canceled and he's above all of that and he's outside of the matrix or whatever, but meanwhile he's
matrix.
scrubbing all of this from the internet
Yeah.
trying to
Interesting.
I mean,
you know,
he
purify his image.
seriously like should be in prison probably.
He absolutely should be in
Got
prison, and he
raided.
just got raided. I think.
Yeah.
And he lives in Romania because it's corrupt as fuck. He literally said, "I moved here because the rape laws are lax."
Yeah.
Nice.
And you know, he probably pays people off, and they don't fuck with him. But the American embassy literally was like, "Yo, someone there has been sex trafficked and kidnapped. You need to go rescue them." And the police went in and rescued them, and then let the guys go. Telling you.
There's a point in this podcast where he says he makes enough money to be above the law where he lives.
Yeah.
Nice.
Exactly. That's what it is. You
That's
know.
scary, man.
Yep.
So like, it's not cute or funny
No,
or interesting
yeah.
or cool. This guy's a fucking like a dangerous criminal.
I didn't realize that. Yikes.
That is actively harming people, and any man who listens and believes anything he says is fucked for life. I mean, let's be honest.
To the word intimate parts and like car parts interchangeably. It's so weird. I take back the Valium comment. That was too early. I don't watch H3 too much. Yeah, no. She's just kind of a droopy kind of character.
Except he literally sells.
He sells.
That's his
Yeah.
whole business is selling
His
a, you know, Tate University or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
Telling
figures.
people how they should think.
Let's see if they linked it.
Who's Portnoy?
As part of his.
Oh, they plug him in the description?
Yeah.
Portnoy?
There's a user who's just gifted subs, and his name or her name is
Dave
No, he
Portnoy?
didn't.
Oh yeah, I
Tate
know. Oh
is
yeah,
my
surprising,
property.
eh?
Oh, you got owned, bitch.
To see him actually standing
that's our Saudi
up and being
prince.
like,
Oh, that's our Saudi prince. Just gifted 50 subs. Tate is my property. I was telling Yil about you, our Saudi prince, about how he's always going nuts every time.
How do you know? Or what?
He's not a Saudi prince. It's just a joke.
Okay.
But he's donated like hundreds.
Okay, so it sounds like that's the end of that. We're gonna move on to the new internet historian. Oh my god, he doesn't post on main anymore. He only posts on incognito mode. But it should be good. It's all about the future. Future, everybody.
Future. Future. Let me tell you about the future. Are you from the future? Help, help. I am from the future. My future ball stopped working and I need to return to my people. I can see that you are a fellow future person. In the future, you will die. Want me to read your future? I can do that right now. You will die. It's me, your great-grandson. Get your hands off me. I'm from the future. You don't understand. There was a mistake on the mission brief. I saved baby Hitler and I hit Sarah Connor with my car. Oh no, I'm sleeping. Oh, it worked. I'm back. Anyway, a gun. Bang, 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 bang. This and more on In the Field.
In the Fields. Should be good.
Did you see that video where it's like metaverse shopping in Walmart?
I didn't see that. Are they bringing banality to the digital world?
Howdy. Thanks for visiting Walmart. I will be your shopping assistant module today, but you can call me Sam.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Chuck, but
for short.
Ugh. No, it gets way worse. She immediately turns into a hall monitor.
Your age has already been pre-verified through your profile.
You can buy, it's been verified through your biometric blood analysis. Are you sure you want that?
What are they going to do? So the thing is, if you were too young to buy it, this would instantly become, how do I figure out how to break the game?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There'd be people lying down in their VR suits to get behind the map.
And you got to get 3 of your friends together to stand on top of each other in VR. So you're like, oh, your height has been verified. It's 17 feet. You must be clearly old enough to buy this wine.
That makes sense.
Immediately, you hear the summoning salt music. Yeah, so I beat Walmart in 36 seconds, 0.27. Start here with the wall glitch, and then you buy 1.6 million gallons of
You mean
milk.
like the backwards cart jump to speed up your fucking glitching through the ground?
Yeah. So as you can see here, I've refunded 9 million packets of cat food, and it's all gone directly into my bank account.
Amazon price matched at record speed.
Yeah.
You know what I love about this whole thing is it's like, isn't this just Amazon.com with extra steps?
Yeah, and with this annoying lady who's preventing you from listening to music or whatever in the background.
She's just like,
we've already pre-measured your penis. We've determined your condom size is small.
I noticed you bought nacho cheese Doritos. Would you like me to warp you to the nacho cheese aisle? Don't worry, I'll do it anyway.
It gets way dumber.
Stop. Oh, God.
It looks like you already have a full gallon of milk at home. Should we put this one back?
No! We take rationing very seriously here at Walmart. Looks like you're headed off to the Walmart digital jail.
Yeah, the refrigerator's locked and...
Don't worry, we've got a coupon for your bail.
The tone and everything of having to talk to this robot. Talking to robots is never going to work. It's just get the fuck out of my face.
You don't have much to relate about. Oh, what do? Sit in cold silence all day?
Oh, are you alive? Do you feel?
Yes, I am sentient. I don't believe you.
Wait.
That's the end. This is a really good example of people getting stuck thinking about the future with the present. They're like, the future will be like going to a Walmart store, but in your VR headset. In reality, it's just like a microchip in your brain that's spiking fucking neurotransmitters to get you to do it at once. That's really what's going to happen.
I've added the service charge to your cart.
Oh my God.
Now for the fun stuff.
Oh, that wasn't the fun stuff?
To electronics.
Instead of just opening a web page, here's the thing with the stuff. Instead, you have to go through this rigmarole of being into the shop. You have to get back to the electronics store, and as you do that, every time she does this stupid fucking line. No. And now onto the fun stuff. Skip.
Where'd your cart go? All your shit's just bashing around. It's like, don't worry, nothing will be damaged.
I think you can even hear the bottle break.
So, oh my God, all of your items will come to you delivered exactly how fucked up they were in this simulation. What, do they shoot it out of a cannon and make a big ass hole in your house?
If they had like VR cam girls, and they're like, you know what, I'll be your girlfriend for the day, and then they will go shopping with you at virtual Walmart, but they'll just be like nude the whole time, or even not, and then she's just like nice to you and shops with you all day.
I swear I saw this like marked down $5 at Target.
Honest opinions on like, nah, those shorts don't look good on you, and like, fuck, that would be great.
I think we'll find something better at Men's Warehouse. I'll go with you, don't worry.
But then Men's Warehouse is only like half constructed. It's still, If I could get the Cartoon Herald avatar, then just go shopping with people. That would be brilliant.
See, that'd be like the one cameo thing worth doing.
Yeah, no, finally something to look forward to when I'm living in the pod. Progress is not just technology or politics. For example, this is true progress because they could have had stalls back in the day.
Yeah.
They really could have. Just a little dividing wall. But instead, they decided never shit alone.
Okay, I have a theory about this. We come across this and we go, amazing. Not only did the Romans have indoor plumbing, but they shat together like a bunch of degenerates. But you go back in time and they actually were walls there that are just eroded. But we just assumed they were all a bunch of barbarians. And it's like you go back and the guy's like, what? You think we just all shat looking at each other eye to eye? What are you, crazy?
What do you think the custom is? Like, you never sit right next to the other guy who's shitting when it's completely empty.
It's basically urinal rules, except much more important.
What is with this, like, keyhole shape?
That's so you can get to your ass with the stick.
Oh,
and it's been bathing all day in salt and vinegar solution.
Well, like a bag of chips.
That's what they did. They would put the sponge, the communal sponge.
I don't believe in the communal sponge, because here's what would happen. It'd be used twice, then someone would accidentally drop it down the hole, and then you'd need a fresh sponge.
That's why you don't believe in it?
By 2 weeks in, everyone would go, I want the fresh sponge. Whoops, and deliberately drop it down.
Yeah, I want to know how they make this inference.
Maybe they analyzed the sponge and found different types of diarrhea on it. Like, this came from 4 different people.
Oh my God. Therefore, yeah, it turns out it was a toilet wiping sponge. So it's like the janitor who cleaned it.
Yeah, right. All right, here's something that I reckon the future is going to get wrong about our present. In your underwear, right? Often it's got that kind of flap and there's like a kind of a hole at the front.
Yeah,
and so the idea is you could actually poke your dick out there and...
Yeah, well, that's the idea.
No one does that.
No one does
The
that.
danger of accidentally pissing all over yourself is enormous. Why would you risk it? But in the future, they will see these holes in the front of our underpants and go, they used to poke it out the front in order to whiz.
So I think a decent amount of people do that.
No.
I bet you if you put that out, there's going to be tons of comments like I do that.
I've never met one.
See, you're already making the kind of historical inference, and we're in the day and age.
Oh, I've got one more.
Not one.
Ad time.
Not one.
I used to be a bad person, like you, until I discovered the browser extension Tab for a Call. Link's in the description. It's so simple, fellas. You get the browser extension, and your homepage displays this little ad on the bottom right, and every time you open a tab, boom, it generates about 1/10 of a cent. It's not much, but think about how many tabs you open every day. Then add that up over millions of people using the browser extension, and you're generating millions for charity. You can even select the charity that you want to support. I like Team C's.
Prize goes to
Pyramids. Have you seen pyramids?
I've seen Pyramid.
It originally looked like this. It was white and it had a gold top, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is your personal account.
There are so many things you can do with something as big as that and smooth as that. And number one is a big slide. You know what I mean?
And you're just making a assumption that it was not that?
That would have been the best rite of passage for the Egyptians. Like, okay.
A ride of passage, perhaps.
Hey!
Oh!
You can't...
But but water. Isn't water scarce in...
Do it with the Aztec one. It's all steps. Bump, 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 bump the whole way down.
I always wondered if, like, you went to the past and you, like, just talked to one of the people who made these things. They're like, what? This? We made this because we just had to displace a lot of sand and we wanted to do it.
We were digging a big hole and this is just the pile.
Yeah. What do you mean? The hole's not there?
What happened to the
hole is gone?
The Great Hole of Giza.
I knew it. It was the Assyrians. God damn it. They were always jealous of our hole. They came here and they filled it in, didn't they?
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
And we're like, it was meant to point to the stars.
See the bits on the side? Is that supposed to be hair?
Well, it's a headdress for one, so it's just meant to be ornate. But to me, it looks like when a cobra rears up.
Oh.
And it has a snake on the top of his head, so I figured it was a cobra.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I never really thought about. Okay, what's up with the beard then? Because that's a lady.
Is that a lady?
Well, yeah.
That's for the pharaoh, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a she. The Sphinx is a lady.
Is it?
She's still.
Are you sure?
Though.
I mean, which is a woman.
Excuse me. Unlike the Greek Sphinx.
That's
the Greek Sphinx, typically shown as a woman. Egyptian Sphinx, Chad.
I always thought it was a woman.
Yeah, I mean,
look at the makeup.
No, it's just his beautiful lips that you dream about kissing. Yeah, but the giant beard might have given you a clue. How would you feel if you were the one who had to chisel like the boobs onto a Greek Sphinx?
That'd be awesome.
Like your job is to chisel gigantic boobs out of the side of a mountain face. You got to pretend you don't like it. You got to be like, oh man, no, that job. I'd like nestle between them and be like,
it starts to break apart on its own weight, so they have to construct a giant bra. The back.
You are charged with motorboating a crack into the rock face. How do you plead? I did it. I fucking did it. And I'd do it again.
All right, well, let's Google a bunch of rites of passages then.
Here, this is the list of the 25 craziest rites of passage.
Oh, wait, here's a good one. The Okrika tribe of Nigeria believe that young women form romantic relationships with water spirits during their childhood.
Okay.
To end their love affair with the water spirit and get married, young women must perform the Ira ritual. The Ira ritual consists of singing songs by the river for days on end, during which the river makes one last attempt to capture their lover.
Damn, girl.
And then they are rescued by their suitor husband.
Oh, heck yeah.
That's really sweet. I like that.
Do you ever think they get like a text? I know you are talking still to that water spirit. I know it is him. I picked up your phone the other day. It was dripping. I saw a number I did not recognize. I picked it up. I put it to my ear and I'm hearing the ocean. You are still in love with him.
4 times a day you are getting water from the well.
You only sang by the river for 4 days. You said you are tired. I know it is because you love him.
That's not sweat on your collar. You know what? It is true.
Is that the water spirit coming from behind?
Puts his arm around your girl. I love that. I love the idea of this boyfriend who's jealous of the river.
Yeah.
What does that mean then if you're like washing your ass in the river?
If she drinks a glass of water, you know, it's like he's inside her. You just gonna let that stand?
Okay, all right, moving on.
3.
Foot binding?
Well, I wouldn't want that to happen to me.
Hold on, I've actually got a theory about foot binding.
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's supposed to make the women look more dainty, you know, small feet, all that sort of thing. But
look at the beauty and the grace, like a ballerina.
Oh, cool.
The other idea is, have you noticed?
Man, what is that? Moet Pot Meneno. Oh, welcome to the stream. How's it going?
That if you bend the foot like this, you essentially get something much more akin to a hand. And if you put 2 of those together, you could imagine what might happen if the emperor happened to be into feet.
Is this...
Do you sort of understand it?
I'm completely lost, but I'm entranced.
It's about 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night, whatever. He's had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
The emperor comes in. He loves feet. And he's like, whoa.
You're saying the emperor would have a foot fetish?
Yeah, it's a hand.
Dude, look down there. That looks like Patrick's star.
It does look like Patrick's star.
It's so not cool.
SpongeBob!
There's it like in the museum at McGill. You can actually see the shoes. They're very bizarre.
How'd they do this? I can't do a Patrick impression, apparently.
SpongeBob! Bro, stop.
Come on, SpongeBob! I'm gonna be late for the emperor to fuck my face or whatever. I want to be able to print a steak.
Yeah.
No, well, they're already doing that. They're trying to make, like, lab-grown meat.
Yeah.
But they're like, look, we're almost there. The only problem is every time someone tastes it, they go, yuck! I'd rather kill myself! Get me out of this facility! I didn't consent to this!
It's funny, when you look at all these food shortages,
yeah,
there's always one section that doesn't have any shortages, and it's all this vegan shit down here.
It's true. It reminds me of that like morning television show
People
where
we probably have to get off red meat.
the lady brought her dog on and she was like, trust me, she's vegan. And then they brought out, they're like, let's put it to the test. And they put out like a bowl of meat and a bowl of like vegetables. And the dog just like yanked the chain and immediately just started eating the meat like it'd never seen it before. Is there any bigger condemnation of your product than people would rather die than eat it?
Food shortages.
Food shortages.
Who's leaving the one bread?
Who's leaving the one?
Is that okay? There's something wrong with this, or
no? That's what I want to ask you. Right? You're in the store.
Right.
Everything's gone.
Oh my god!
All right. You need to eat. You walk up to the bread aisle. You glance side to side. There it is. There's that one bread right there. See that?
Why is it left there?
There's probably nothing wrong with it, right?
Ooh.
You gonna grab that bread?
Everybody's got the exact same bias.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this one piece?
There's probably nothing wrong with that bread. It probably get you through the night, because you are hungry.
What could have possibly happened to it?
What could have happened to that bread?
Yeah, I think I would grab it, but then what I would do is probably like skin the whole bread, and then I would only eat whatever's on the center of it.
Skin the whole bread?
Yeah, get rid of all the crusty bit on the outside. Because someone's probably reached their hand in, fooled around
Literally,
with it.
who says skinning bread? We call that removing the crust. You absolutely... Is there something wrong with you?
Pretty much the whole world says skinning bread, except for Americans who are like, I'll have a drink of pop, please.
I've got something for you on pop.
Yeah.
It's no longer just good enough to have regular soda pop, okay? It's got to have like a twist. I'm not sure who started this. Maybe it was Coke with like vanilla Coke or Crystal Pepsi, whichever one came first.
Yeah.
And even milk's getting into this with chocolate milk now. Can you believe this?
So it's called Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
And that's like the see-through Pepsi.
Yeah, they were like, take out the additive that makes that artificial coloring and just give it to them what it actually is. And people said, no, that's what it is? I'm not drinking that. Put back the carcinogenic coloring.
Do you reckon that Pepsi is naturally colored?
Do I reckon?
I've never thought
All they
about
did
it.
was take out the food coloring. That's what it
Oh,
is.
it's got one less ingredient.
Yeah.
Give me a discount then.
It just proves how unnatural it is. I still drink it, though.
I figured they basically did this.
I'm sorry. This was somewhere on your mind, and it somehow related to Crystal Pepsi.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
It's oysters, I think, cleaning the tank.
Mate.
Naturally, it's all brown because it's just brown and water, and then you pour it in the oyster tank.
They're mining the Pepsi and then filtering it.
And they filter it out.
Wait a minute. You're
so
telling
good.
me you thought...
I'm not telling you that that's what I thought. I'm telling you that's definitely what happened.
That's what happened, yeah. Ooh, acid toilets.
You know, sometimes when people talk about like dissolving a dead body and flushing it down the toilet, I reckon that would be really difficult to do.
Define difficult.
So one time I clogged a toilet. Hold on, we got to go backwards more.
Bro.
So
I really need no. Yeah, give me the groundwork. I see where you're heading.
okay, this one time I was living in this really shitty apartment and I didn't have a clothes washer. And so I had to go all the way to a laundromat. Now, at one point I ran out of towels and I thought, well, I still need to shower. So instead, I took with me into the bathroom a whole roll of handy paper towels. Now, when I got out of the shower, I dried myself with all these paper towels, and it worked a treat. And I thought, I am a genius.
Yeah.
And then what I proceeded to do was throw those paper towels into the toilet, which was not as ingenious of a move.
Well, you win some, you lose some, okay? Not everybody be on all the time.
So what happened was the toilet was thoroughly clogged. And I thought, oh, it'll pass.
No. He's the reason you see those signs in bathrooms that are like, do not stuff paper towels into the toilet. So this has to be said to people?
It'll decompose over time. It's for about a week.
It'll decompose.
For about a week. The toilet was like completely clogged.
So then you got a plunger, right? Or you just stamped it down with your foot, or just anything other than whatever you're probably going to tell me next?
I tried all sorts of things. So at first I was like, I'll just put some cat litter down. I had a cat. I'll put some cat litter down. That'll help. Just
what the fuck?
Push it, right?
You're not sounding like you know much about toilets.
No, because the cat litter will dissolve. So worst case scenario, you're fine. Now that didn't.
How will that help?
That
though?
didn't. Well, no, it didn't help in the end.
You're like toilet, cat poop, litter. Put it in.
I tried a plunger. That did not work. I tried boiling hot water. Poured down the toilet. That also did not work. And so eventually I thought, okay.
So basically it was a psychotic break.
I thought I can call a plumber, and I've got no idea when they'll come out. I don't know how much I'll pay them, and I can't be bothered.
And this cat litter's right here.
Yes. I will go the nuclear option, and I will go and buy a bottle of sulfuric acid, that's used for melting and smoothing concrete, and instead pour that down the toilet. It's incredible if you buy one of these things, because like you open the cap and you can feel the acidity of the thing. Like if you start pouring it out,
Really?
you will actually feel the hairs in your nostrils react to it.
Oh.
It's incredibly corrosive,
Yeah.
incredibly dangerous.
So bring that into your house.
Yeah. By the way, that didn't unclog the toilet at all, and instead
Okay, that's what I was waiting for.
a little bit got on the toilet seat and left a permanent mark.
And so are we going to get like a moral to the story, or you promised me we were just going to be sticking to talking about the future?
I'm tired of having
Segment over.
my methods questioned. I want to question you.
Okay.
Let's do some Q&A with JonTron.
JonTron, everybody.
Hardballs, question time, truth, and facts.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that Jordan Peterson?
Listen, I'm the one asking the questions around here. I heard that you have a wife. Is that true? Do you care to comment?
That's that's true, yeah.
How traditional of you. A conservative, someone might say.
Yeah,
I couldn't help but notice that your middle name is Aryan. Is that owing to your pure white heritage?
You're fucking with me, right? This isn't a real thing. You're such a bastard. Okay. Yeah, no, that's really my middle name.
Got him.
And it is a Persian name. It's pronounced Aryan.
Persian.
You see, the Indo-Aryans, the Yamnaya people...
Is that made up?
No. Look it up.
Yamnaya.
Okay, so the Yamnaya people, not Yamnya.
Is that them?
That's them. And the ones who went west became the Europeans, and the ones who went east became the Persians. Iran actually means land of the Aryans, but it's not meant...
Oh my god.
I know.
Yeah.
You can't make it up.
Oh, it's just going from bad to worse.
It derives from like the 3rd century Sasanian Middle Persian Iran.
Are you reading the Wikipedia?
I am now, but I wasn't before. Anyways.
I wasn't really listening to that explanation. I'll just shortcut and say racism.
Yeah, you proud of yourself? You proud of yourself? You smiling ear to ear?
Listen.
I'll fucking dox you right
I'm
now.
here just to give the fair interview, just to
Oh, that's
lay
what
out
this is.
the
This is
facts.
the interview. This is just a fair, balanced interview.
Look, there's no need to be so aggressive, John.
You didn't even ask me my favorite like food dish or anything. What kind of interview is this?
What is your favorite food dish?
The crayon green. I like the way it looks.
I heard that you're dead.
You promised you wouldn't go down this route. Okay, we had a chat beforehand.
It was the one question.
It was the one you knew. And don't tell me you forgot. Are we still in the interview? Have I walked out of the studio yet?
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Can you grow a full beard, or is this part of the JonTron character?
Wow, that's all I've fucking got. That's all I've got, IH.
Am I not allowed to ask you about the beard?
I just feel attacked.
All right, I won't ask you about the beard then. What's the worst question you get during interview?
This one.
This one.
You've scored number 1.
All right, let me ask you then. Where do you get the inspiration for your videos?
You know what? You know what? Where do I get the inspiration? Man, I'm not like, fuck you, I'm not in. You're not gonna, are you putting these interview bits in?
All right, well, thanks for coming to the Channel 4 interview. I hope that was perfectly balanced and fair.
Channel 4, that's all I get?
Well, the other 3 were busy. That's the end of the video. We also have another collaboration coming out in a few weeks on JonTron's channel. Also, I have another channel called Story Mode. It's a different type of content. You might like it.
Okay, that's yeah, I think that's it, everybody. I think that's the whole stream. A bit of a shorter one today, only a few hours, but no ads, so that's cool. You know, isn't that lovely? So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the new follow. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. Probably gonna check out what Chuck. We're gonna pick up what Chuck was putting down, which was this JJ McCullough guy, the sort of the black pilling of Viva Frey. So that could be an interesting deep dive. I'm definitely curious. It's like this blind spot of Canadian, right-wing pipeline that maybe I should know about. I don't know. Seems interesting. Plus, we get to find out about how the Canadian Supreme Court looks like Sandy Claus. So that's always fun. All right, everybody. I'll see you later. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Au revoir. À la prochaine. See ya. Stay frosty.